What up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and we are here today for another review of Rated to Love, you guys. This season is just never ending at this point. This is season 7, episode 11, titled Two Truths and a Lie, you guys. Two truths and a lie. Two truths and a lie. I'm gonna give you guys two truths and one lie, and you guys are gonna have to deduce which one is the lie. But before we go ahead and get into it, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel and you guys are not yet subscribed to this channel, do me a solid favor and stop taking me on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. Do me that favor by subscribing to the video, subscribe to the channel, turning on your post notifications, liking the video, sharing the video. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let's discuss Rated to Love. Shout out, you guys. So my two truths and one lie. I am over this season. This season has been really, really good, you guys. And I need the season finale to come pretty soon. Which one do you guys think are my two truths and my lie? Let me know in the comment section below, and we'll just go ahead and get into this episode. So, this episode, we picked up where we last left off, right? So you guys remember that we had the bottom two, we were left on a cliffhanger, and the bottom two were Pick Me Susu and Mercedes, right? So ultimately, the men decided that Pick Me Susu's time was up. Bye, we won't miss you. Nah, I give Pick Me Susu a hard time, but it's nothing, right, you guys? It's nothing. I just give her a hard time because Blake has stuck around so long, right? And I even give Blake a hard time. So I do want to say this because I know that the cast watch my videos. I know that they they talk to me on social media. So I just want to say this to everybody on the Rated to Love cast, right? Everything that I say on here is strictly jokes, right? So don't take anything too hard, because I know that I know a good majority of them watch. They watch in the shadows, but some of them do respond to me on social media. So again, nothing but love to all of you guys, right? I may not like some of the things that I see on the show, but other than that, you guys, it's nothing, right? So now, one person who just really annoys me in this particular episode is Jeffrey, right? So everybody is hugging Sue, and Jeffrey in her interview is like, it's bull, right? I'm like, Jeffrey, it's bull for you. You didn't hug her. Everybody else may have a great relationship with Pick Me Susu, right? So that's that, right? So then after that, we see Cynthia and Andre, right? So they're talking, and he asks her, what does she think of him, right? So Cynthia says that she feels like Andre is an amazing guy, right? Which made it very easy for her to put him back into her top when he came back. I was like, okay. But the thing with Cynthia, and again, you guys, Cynthia, gorgeous, gorgeous woman. I noticed in this episode, she got tattoos on her feet. And I'm like, oh, girl, how did you do that? Because my bestie got some butterflies on her feet. When she got that tattoo on her feet, she was gripping the shit out of me, right? But so yeah, with Cynthia, I'm like, you still didn't. Cynthia hasn't really talked about the date with her ex, the father of her kids, because Andre said something that was kind of alarming to me, like basically like I could be here today, but maybe not tomorrow, right? So then we see Anthony and Mercedes. They're talking, right? So with Anthony and Mercedes, I really like Anthony. I really, 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 really like Anthony. I think Anthony is a good guy. I think it's just something about Anthony that draws me to him, right? I think he's a great guy. I love his beard because it always looks moisturized. Love his beard. He just seems like a cool guy. He's actually a very handsome guy as well. I have no problem with saying that the man is handsome. Anthony is a very handsome guy. So yeah, and Anthony is just so suave and so cool. I really, really, really like Anthony. I think Anthony and Cynthia could really make it work, right? Because I feel like they're on the same pattern. Now, I want to say one thing about Mercedes. Mercedes is, it's interesting because in the beginning of the season, she was like, it seemed like she was ready to be an instant mom, right? But now she's not so much so, right? She feels like there's a lot that comes with Anthony as far as his daughter and his career. And I was like, but and she's a flight attendant. So I'm like, so you know what you want to do as well. So I wouldn't speak about the career part, but maybe being, an instant mom. Yeah. But, she just basically let him know that their connection, it's there, but she's just not what she doesn't feel that she can be all that he needs at this current time in his life. And I respect that, you guys. But let's pause here and we're gonna go ahead and move forward. All right, you guys. So next up we see Anthony. So Anthony was talking to Cynthia, right? So, when Anthony and Cynthia, they're both talking about their connection with each other, right? And how they both know, how they both basically know where they stand with one another. So you guys know, I've already told you guys who I think the couples should be, right? And I'm just questioning, when the hell is the season finale? But that's neither here nor there, right? So Anthony and Cynthia, they shared a kiss with each other. And I was like, oh, go for it, Anthony. Like, I was cool with it. I was really cool with that. I didn't have an issue with it. Because here's the thing. When it comes down to Cynthia, yes, she has a connection with Andre, right? But I do believe that her connection with Anthony is a lot stronger than her connection is with Dre, right? That's just my personal opinion. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below, right? So then we see Blake. So Blake, he was talking to the fellas. Basically, Blake was telling the fellas, like, since Pick Me Susu is gone, he just really doesn't know where he stands. I can tell you where you stand. You don't. It's better. It would just be better for you to self-eliminate, because the ladies will eliminate you either way it go, right? So he's gonna go home, and then he says, he'll talk to Tommy later, right? So there was a knock at one point on the door after Blake left, and Tony, Mr. Tony, he was like, oh, I thought it might have been Marcy, coming to barge back in. I was like, oh, so now you want Marcy. Okay, because now we don't know what happened in the deliberations if he fought for Marcy, but I'm like, oh, so now you want Marcy back. Now you want Marcy. Okay, Marcy. Because I know you probably watch, and I know you see me on Twitter. Me and Marcy have done talked on Twitter plenty of times. And again, me and Tony have too, right? So anything I'm saying is jokes, right? But if he comes a knocking, go and run, Marcy. Just keeping it real with you guys, right? Just gonna be. Let me segue real quick, right? Nope, we'll talk about it when we get to it. So what they're going to be doing is they're going to be making candles for their connection or connections, right? It's not too many people who have multiple connections at this point in the season. I think the only people who have connections would be Jeffrey, Marc Anthony, Andre, Cynthia, and Morgan. Those are like the only people who I can say have multiple connections. And even when it comes to Morgan, I don't think that Morgan has a multiple connection. Cynthia doesn't. Marc Anthony, no. Andre, no. Jeffrey, no. So technically they don't have multiple connections. I think that at one point, you guys know how I feel about this show sometimes. I feel like some of these people play a numbers game, and that's really what is boiled down to, right? So we see Morgan. So Morgan got her freakum dress on, right? And I was like, okay, Morgan, you looked good, right? So she went to talk to Lyndon. And basically Lyndon was like, the stuff that happened with him and Tony, he wasn't really feeling it, right? Because of the fact that, one, y'all too old for this shit, number one. Like, whose bed she's sleeping in? That was a little child. Let's just be real. That was childish as shit, right? So Lyndon told Morgan how that made him feel, and that brought her to tears because she went out to go do the candle and she couldn't do it, so she went back in, and then Cynthia went behind her to check on her. And I love the fact that Cynthia consoled her and was basically like, Lyndon is a good guy. And I'm not, listen to me clearly, you guys, because I know Tony, he watches. So I'm not saying that Tony is a bad guy. I'm really not. But what I see with Tony on this show, it shows that he is a little controlling, possessive, and quick to anger, right? That's what I see. That's what I see. And those can be some red flags. And for him and Morgan, for a woman who nared her ex-boyfriend's hair, that dynamic is not going to work. That dynamic in itself is going to be toxic. And Cynthia was talking to Morgan about the way that a man treats you, right? I was here for what Cynthia said, right? Do I think Tony is abusive? No. Again, going off of what I see, I do think he is possessive and controlling and quick to anger, right? I do see that side of him. I do see that side of him. I see a hothead, right? And I don't know if he is in control of that aspect of himself, right? But that's just what I see. And again, Tony, I know you watch. It's nothing personal. It's just what I see on the show, right? And you guys can let me know what you guys think in the comment section as well. But that's just what I see, right? What I did not like at this particular moment was when Marc Anthony went and told Tony that Morgan was crying, right? So he went to go check on Morgan, right? And the thing that kind of blows me with Morgan is the fact that she says that Tony makes her look like an ass. I was like, nah, that's on you, sis. You got to accept responsibility for what you've done. You can't put that on him. Has he shown did he make himself look like a bit of an ass? Yes. He made himself look like an ass, but he didn't make you look like one, right? He didn't make you look like an ass. He just made himself, again, Tony, I'm just going off of what I see on the show. So if you want to tell me, you can say whatever, right? We have a dialogue with each other. That's just what I see. Just what I see. It could be, I know many people say it's always the editing, right? But it's just what the show shows me. So I have to go by what I see on the show. But let's pause here and move forward, you guys. So the next thing we see is they're having a pajama party, right? So everybody was at the pajama party with the exception of Tony. And at the pajama party, they passed out their candles to each other, right? When Marc Anthony gave Mercedes her candle, Jeffrey gave off hardcore hater vibes, right? I'm like, but girl, you sit over here and smooch all over Mr. Andre and his Tyler Perry microphone, but you want to have a little bit of you want to be a little stank in your interview about Mercedes. First of all, what the hell did Jeffrey have on as a pajama set? It was a no. So then, after that happened, we see Tony. So Tony was talking to Morgan, and he apologized to her, right? So Morgan feels that, Tony is a wild card. Will I say that Tony's a wild card? No, I don't think Tony's a wild card. What it is for me, when I look at Tony, I see Tony as I think Tony is a smooth talker, and I told Tony this, so Tony knows that I feel this way about him. Tony is a smooth talker, and I've said it in my reviews. Tony is a smooth talker, and in this particular scene, he proved what I was saying, right? Because he was landed on thick. He a provider. He is this, he's that, right? And I'm not saying that you're not that, Tony. I'm definitely not saying that it's not who you are. But I've told you this, the way you talk is very slick and smooth, right? Because if a person doesn't really just catch it, be like, wait a minute, I feel like you're trying to run a little bit of game on me. Like, what's up? Because just listen to the thing. It's not what you say, it's how you say the things that you say, right? It just comes off very, very smooth talker. So it is what it is. But I don't like the fact that Morgan keeps saying that Tony is making her look like an ass. He can't make you look like that, right? If you see red flags with Tony, why? And see, that's the problem with Morgan. And a lot of people last night kept saying on Twitter that Tony is a red flag. Tony is a red flag. Tony is a red flag. Honestly, you guys, I got to sit here and defend my boy Tony, right? Yes, on this show, could he be perceived as a red flag? Absolutely, right? And in the same token, Morgan is a bigger red flag. Hello, she nared her ex-boyfriend's hair. So they're both red. If we're going to be keeping it real, they both can be perceived as red flags, right? So, and the reason why I say Tony comes off as a red flag, because let's just be real. Again, Tony, if you're watching, these are my opinions, right? And I hope you respect it, right? But when it came down to the Lyndon situation, I think even you knew what it was because you said it in your interview. Morgan was using Lyndon to get to you. And I said it in last week's review. Morgan was using Lyndon to make Tony upset, make Tony jealous, and it 100% worked. I know you might not want to admit it, but she did get under your skin, because for you to do what you, now granted, last week's episode, Lyndon did poke the bear, right? He definitely 100% poked the bear, but you took the bait. And if someone doesn't rattle your cage, or if you are so unbothered, like everybody loves to say, right? And I'm not saying that he said he was unbothered, but if you're saying that you're not if you don't feel any, if you're not threatened by Lyndon, the things that Lyndon said would have never gotten to you. Because if he would have said, oh well, what, when he said, what if Marcy was still here, you could have said, excuse me, y'all, you could have said, well, what if Marcy was still here? I would still be, I would have to make a decision between Marcy and Morgan, right? And it would still be a difficult decision. So what was the purpose of you asking me that question? That's how you could have wiggled around that one, but it is what it is. But yeah, I just don't like the fact that she keeps saying that he makes her look like an ass. No, ma'am, he does not make you look like an ass. So then we see Blake. So Blake met up with Tommy and he's leaving the process. That's all I got. Nothing less, nothing more. Let's pause here and wrap up the episode. So we then see, as Mercedes and Marc Anthony, they went on a date. They played two truths and a lie. I don't really care to regurgitate that. So she asked him, is he looking for something serious? He said, is he looking for a relationship, a long-term relationship? But he is looking for something serious, right? So then we get the ladies' lounge. So you guys know who all the ladies pretty much like, right? But in the bottom, a lot of the ladies said that they wanted Lyndon, it wasn't anything negative about Lyndon per se. It was the fact that, they were just tired of seeing Lyndon be hurt, right? And then so the bottom two were Lyndon and Tony, right? Those were the bottom two. So Cynthia mentioned that when they were on the getaway, that Lyndon had said that Tony had told him that if Marcy was still there, that he could have Morgan, right? So Tommy said, well, how do you feel about that, right? And she told Tommy how she felt about it, and he's like, so you see the red flags. She was like, yeah. I'm like, well, she sees the red flags because she is a red flag. So she's gonna run towards the red flags, right? So Tommy basically told her to sit down with Lyndon. At the end of it, you make the decision if he stays in the process or if he goes home, right? So we see her go out with Lyndon, and I will say, when it comes down to Morgan, it's still interesting to hear Morgan say that she wants to have kids and wants to be married within 2 years. But you yourself said at the beginning of the season that you had never been in love. And I'm just still going with that, right? If you've never been in love, why do you want to be married so fast, right? So she has unrealistic expectations from my viewpoint, right? But Lyndon says that, he can't give her what she wants, right? Because it's unrealistic, number two. But Lyndon went home. They shared a kiss with each other. They shared the first kiss with each other. And that was ultimately the episode, you guys. So let me know what you guys thought about it down in the comment section below. Please subscribe to the channel. Turn on your post notifications. Share the video, you guys. And until the next time, stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Wash your hands. Be blessed. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye, you guys. So what I'm going to do, you guys, is I got to catch up on Chase and Dallas. And I'll do a review. I'll do a little video about that. And then I'm going to do an episode 1 and 2 review of Grown in Gospel. And then we'll be caught up in the Power Book 2 Ghost. Episode number 2 will be up tomorrow, as well as the mid-season finale. I wish it was just a season finale of Love and Marriage DC. And I will see you guys later on that night, tomorrow night, for episode 4 of SWV and Escape. I might talk about this interview with Rocky and Latasha, and not Latasha, but, well, her name is Latasha Keeby, Latasha K. We might talk about that. I don't know. But I'll see you guys later. Stay safe. Take care of yourselves. Wash your hands. Be blessed. I'll see you guys later. Peace out, you guys.